Good afternoon. Now we'll be connecting the Raspberry Pi to the system and using the VNC viewer to view the desktop and to type in our Python script so that we can use that to interface all sensors and actuators we want to connect with it, likewise the display and others. Now to do this is very simple. So you need the Raspberry Pi, the zero, you need your SD card reader, your memory card, and then your USB cable, then your laptop. So how do we start? The first thing, you put this to your memory card reader and you plug it to your system. So you plug it into your computer USB ports. So after plugging in your SD card reader, then you come down here to your computer to see the file. Then from here you can just format it. Just use a quick format. So when you are done, then the SD card is empty. Then you click on the Raspberry Pi imager. You can download it from the link. So click on this, click on Raspberry Pi OS that is to be recommended. Then choose the storage. Don't forget the storage is D as I have it here. Then before you click on write, you can go to the settings. From the settings we can set the wireless connection, the host name, everything. Okay, so you click on enable, you enable host name, enable SSH, then come down here to set your username and password. Okay, so for example, my username, I can write Adeleke as my username. You can write any username. Then password, you can write any password. Then configure wireless LAN. So I will connect my Raspberry Pi remotely through my hotspot, my computer hotspot. So let me go click on hotspot. So this is my mobile hotspot for computer. It is on. Then the hotspot name is ALA Ismail and the password is GGGGG. Then I go back there. Then change this to ALA Ismail and the password is GGGG12345678. Okay, so that is the password for the wireless LAN to connect it to. You can set your settings, you can depend on your time zone. Okay, I'm in Johannesburg. So when you are done, then you click on save. So after it has been saved, then you can click on write. So do you want to continue because it will erase everything on the SD card? Yes. Then you give it some time. It will take some time to be done. So now it's done writing. It's now verifying. So when it's done verifying, then you can now remove after removing your flash drive, then you insert it back to your computer system. So what we want to do now is to SSH file. So you open the SD card, you right click anywhere, new, then text document, then you should have new document.txt. So the SSH file will have no extension, so you can just highlight everything, just SSH, and that is all, and enter. So it asks you, this is, click on yes. So that is the SSH that we need to connect our Raspberry Pi. Okay, now when you're done, then you can just eject your SD card. Then you're done. Then take your SD card back to your Raspberry Pi.
So after you have ejected your SD card, so you plug it into your Raspberry Pi. Okay, you plug it in your Raspberry Pi. So you can plug in your USB cable to any of the connector. Since we are not sharing data with wire, our data will be shared wirelessly. That was why we have to set the hotspots before writing the operating system to the memory card. So you can plug it anywhere. Then you plug it to your system. So after plugging it in, you see it blinking. So you wait for 2 to 3 minutes for it to boot so that you can see it connected to your system hotspots.
So now that you are done, you can see the Raspberry Pi is now connected to your mobile hotspot. Can you see it now? It's connected to your mobile hotspot. It has assigned an IP address to it. Can you see Raspberry Pi IP address 192 this? Can you see that? So you can copy the IP address. Through this IP address, you can connect to it remotely without any form of cabling. So although I was connecting the Raspberry Pi to my computer system, it's not compulsory. You can connect it through your power supply as well. Just power it through so you can just power it to your socket. So it's not through your socket and your power adapter. So it's not compulsory you connect it to your computer system. So I'm only using the computer system just to power it. That was why I was connecting my cable to the power cable and not the USB cable. So it doesn't matter, the USB connector, it doesn't matter. So now that you are done, so you can copy the IP address. So after that has been copied, so after you've copied the IP address, so you can open PuTTY. So apart from using PuTTY, you can also use Mobile XTEM. Mobile XTEM is better than PuTTY. At times you might have issues using PuTTY. Okay, so if you have issues using that, you can use Mobile XTEM. So when it is launched, just click on Session, SSH, the remote host. Just when you click on Enter for the first time, it brings this for the first time. So trying to tell you, do you really want to connect? So you click on Accept. Then it types login as. So you login as your what? As your username. Can you remember our username? When I was writing this, if you remember, my username was Adeleke, isn't it? So Adeleke, enter. My password was, I've typed in my password. It's not showing. I've typed it in. So do you want to save password? You don't need to save that. Now you've logged in. Now you log into your Raspberry Pi wirelessly. Now the first thing to do, let's try and upgrade the operating system. So how do you upgrade the operating system? If you want to use the Raspberry Pi in the command prompt, the first thing to type is sudo. Okay, then to upgrade, so you just type in apt -get, then upgrade. Then you tap on enter. Then you give it some seconds to be done. So it's done now. So after it has been done, when it's done, you see your username at Raspberry Pi again. Then the next thing, let's enable the VNC viewer. So after the VNC viewer has been enabled, we don't need to come through Mobile XTEM again. I will advise you to use Mobile XTEM and not PuTTY, because PuTTY will always, if there's any form of failed connection, it will delete your SSH file, and once your SSH file is deleted, then you can no longer connect your Raspberry Pi even wirelessly. Okay, so always use mobile XM, and you only need this for once, just to enable the VNC viewer. So after the VNC viewer has been enabled, then we don't need the mobile XM again. So how do you enable the VNC viewer? So you type in sudo, okay, sudo, then raspi -config, then enter. So you give it some time, some seconds. So it's here. So at this point, your cursor may not work again. It's not clicking on anything. So you use your arrow, the arrow on your keyboard. So you come to the interface option, enter. Then you come to VNC, enter. So your arrow as well, because your cursor won't work again. To the left, so you click on yes. Then it has been enabled. So VNC viewer is enabled. Okay, it has been enabled. So after that, then you can click on finish. You navigate to finish. If I haven't upgraded it, you can update it from here if you wish. Finish. Then we're done. Then you can reboot, sudo reboot. Don't forget, when you reboot, it might take 2 to 3 minutes before it's connect to your mobile hotspot. It's asking press return to exit tab, press R to restart session, press S to save terminal. So just we can just exit. Okay, can just exit. Okay, I'm done. Then you can exit that. Then you can go to VNC viewer. VNC. Now we no longer need the other one. We no longer need mobile XM any longer. So to check, it's not yet connected. I told you to take about 2 minutes. So if it is not yet connected, if you try to connect to the VNC viewer through your IP, it won't connect. So you have to check your settings, your mobile hotspot, to be sure it has been connected to the mobile hotspot before you can connect. Okay, so and can you see it's back? It's not even up to 2 minutes, and it's have to do this because we rebooted. Don't forget, we rebooted the Raspberry Pi. So let's go back to the VNC viewer. We type in your IP, enter. For the first time, it gives you this warning message. You click on continue. Then can you remember the username? I Adeleke. My password is okay. You can remember, but it's not necessary. Don't do that, because why do you put a password when you want to? But use the password that you won't forget, because if you forget, it's more likely you have to start again from the beginning, from the operating system. Then click on OK. Then this is your desktop. This is your desktop. Now it's asking me to log in. Okay, let me type in our password. Log in. If you want to shut down, you can. So now that I'm fully in, so this is now the Raspberry Pi operating system. Okay, this is the Raspberry Pi operating system. So this is the operating system. Can you see the terminal? If you click on this terminal, it looks like your mobile XM. Can you see? So you no longer need your mobile XM. Even if you want to type in any command, you can type it in from your terminal. Okay. If you want to enable any communication device, you can do it through your mobile XM or the terminal, but it's not necessary. You can just come here, click on preference, then Raspberry Pi configuration. Can you remember, instead of typing sudo Raspberry configuration, you can just come to this menu, then click on preference, Raspberry Pi configuration. Is that understood? Then you give you a few seconds. So from here, you can work on the display, the resolution of the display, how big you want it to be. You can change it. So if you want screen blanking, whatever. If you want to check the system, if you want to change your password, if you want to change the host name, okay. Auto login interface. Can you remember the VNC VR was enabled? SSH was also enabled. Can you remember? You can enable the SPI communication interface, the I2C serial ports. The serial console is already updated. Then the one wire for one wire communication or remote GPIO, anyone you want to enable. Performance, localization. Can you remember this?